if you're feeling lonely, I want to share with you 4 things that I think are going to make a huge difference in your life. And the 4th thing is something that I would bet you haven't heard before. So in my life early on, I suffered from loneliness. I mean, since the time I can remember, actually, from when I was a child to a teenager to my young adult years. Now, I had friends and I had a community, and it wasn't hard for me to make friends in community. I was blessed in that way. But I always felt this sense of loneliness. It was actually until I got into a spiritual path and started having a relationship with what I would call self. And eventually, now I'm a celibate monk, so this is different from you. I'm going to get to that topic in a few minutes here. But if you're lonely, I can relate. In my own way, I felt, again, lonely and somehow different and separate from people my entire life. And I've tried thousands of different things to navigate that loneliness. And here are the 4 things that I found that have really made a difference for me. And such that even when I feel lonely to this day, I just focus on these 4 things and it shifts pretty quickly. Now, here's the first thing. And I realized this, actually, a friend of mine said this to me the other day. And I didn't really know this. I lived it, but I didn't distinguish this. Relationship with ourself limits my ability to connect with other people. So if I don't have a deep, significant relationship with myself, then I'm not going to be able to connect with other people. Now, here's the thing. We'll talk about what to do about this in a minute. But just notice how connected you are to yourself. Meaning, do you acknowledge feelings that you're having? Do you spend time with yourself? Do you know yourself? Do you journal? Have you spent time looking within and talking about yourself with other people, maybe with a therapist or a coach or family or friends? How much are you familiar with yourself? Now, you might say, I've spent tons of time with myself, and that's actually why I'm so lonely, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, our relationship with ourselves and how much we really know ourselves, meaning we're familiar with our strengths and with our weaknesses equally, that can limit how much we're available to other people. Because one of the things that loneliness comes from is allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and thus connected with the people that matter most, right? So that's the first thing, is our relationship with ourselves limits our ability to connect with other people. Now, here's the thing, and this is maybe kind of obvious. Our relationship with others can enhance how much we are connected to ourselves, right? Meaning, what are the quality of our relationships? How much do we allow ourselves to be connected with other people in a way that we're vulnerable, that we are weak, quote unquote, with other people, that we let people into our lives, that we're relatively open to feedback that people give us? And if we don't like the feedback that people give us, one, it means something. Everything that they're saying, it might have more to do with them than with you, or it might have more to do with you than it does with them, one or the other. But there's some kernel of truth in what they're telling us. Now, if you don't feel comfortable being connected to anybody, boy, that means 2 things. One, get more connected with yourselves. And secondly, find some new friends, right? But don't search for other people to make you whole. Spend some time in reflection and see why we've created, or you've created, these people that actually really aren't your people. I work with a lot of people right now, actually, who are really evaluating other relationships and realizing, I don't know that I want to be friends with any of these people. And I'm like, that's okay, right? Spend some time with yourself, do some transformational work, and see what kind of relationships you create. So look at the quality of the relationships that you have and use that to get more connected to yourself. Because again, this tenet of our connection with ourself limits our ability to connect with other people. Now, here's the third thing. Find a relationship with what I will call your soul. Now, let's use other words to describe this. It could be your heart. It could be yourself. But some aspect of yourself that is greater than your physical body, greater than your thoughts, and greater than your feelings. There is an aspect of us, which some people call higher self. There are many different names for it, but there is an aspect of ourselves, which my experience is, not even my belief, my experience is that I connect with every day, is that there's something that is beyond my body, beyond my thoughts, and beyond my feelings, that when I allow myself to connect, to become aware of that connection with that aspect of myself, holy cow, that is the antidote for loneliness. Because at that point, everything just becomes additive. Now, I've been practicing for a number of years, and I wouldn't expect you to get this from one video or one meditation or one contemplation or experience or opening to that aspect of yourselves. But if you practice connecting with the aspect of yourselves, that's not the body, that's not the thoughts, and that's not the feelings, meaning it could be your heart, it could be your breath. But when we allow that aspect, and when we allow that aspect in, it's actually impossible to be genuinely lonely. More about that in other videos. Now here's the fourth thing in the bonus. If you stuck around for this long, give a thumbs up on this video because you did what most people don't. And this is going to help. And you are now dedicated. This is a reflection of how dedicated you are to transforming yourself. Look at what qualities you put in the relationship with yourself, in the relationship with other people. Meaning, every relationship has three parts: self, other, and the relationship itself. And when we examine and look at what qualities we put into the relationship, and the relationship with ourselves is a relationship, meaning do we put into that relationship mistrust, jealousy, judgment? And I'm talking about relationship with other people or relationship with ourselves. Do we judge ourselves? Do we judge other people? And when we really look at what are the unhelpful qualities that we maybe even subconsciously put into that relationship, then we can distinguish and take those qualities out of the relationship. And how do we do that? We just take ownership and responsibility for them. Okay, I recognize that I judge myself all the freaking time. Okay, that's step one, right? I notice that I judge other people all the time. If I'm really honest with myself, I notice that I don't trust other people. Do I trust myself? Am I putting mistrust in the relationship with myself or the relationship with other people? All right, I take that back, right? And then what do I consciously want to put into the relationship? Do I want to put faith? Do I want to put joy? Do I want to put peace? Do I want to bring peace into the relationships with other people? How do I do that? I don't know. I'll just start by attempting to be peaceful when I'm hanging out with other people. Or how do I become peaceful with myself? What if I just sit for a few minutes and foster peace in the moment? There's a million different meditations you could do that with. That'll take 2 minutes, right? So take back the unhelpful qualities of what I put into the relationship and start to give the helpful qualities that I want into the relationship. So relationship with self limits our ability to connect with other people. Relationships with others can enhance those qualities with ourselves. Find a relationship with your soul and look at what you're putting into the relationship. You got this.